And we're back for episode number 50 of Are You Quizzing Me? It has been a year since we started this podcast, and I don't think either of us were 100% confident that we would reach this milestone, but we have 50 episodes in. Aditya, thoughts?
Just the fact that we are here is astounding enough. And the fact that we have not given up on each other or on this podcast or on trivia in general is truly a remarkable thing. I'm very impressed.
Yes, we are impressed with ourselves.
I'm also very sleepy right now. It is a recording at, well, let's say 9 a.m., and which normally human beings are awake. But yes, I claim that it is time to sleep at 9 a.m. and not be awake. So I'm going to try my best to be awake for this special episode, actually.
Yes. Can you tell our audience what's special about it, Aditya?
Well, it is the number 50 and it is the last episode for the year. So Vineet and I decided that we will treat each other and our audiences to a special episode. And in this special episode, what we're going to be doing is that we are going to be asking questions from events that have happened in this year exclusively. So Vineet is going to ask me a question for something pertaining to January 2023. I will take Feb, then he goes to March, and so on and so forth. Of course, we might take events in those specific months and use that as an inspiration for a question slightly related. So it won't be a specific event that, hey, do you know what happened in 2023 Jan? But something that happened and hence inspired our questions. I'm very excited. Let's see, because we both don't know what the other person has prepared.
Yes.
And this will be an active discovery process, but let's figure this out together.
Yes, this should be interesting. Let me start off with an audience question and a question for our audience regarding something that happened this year. So, in March of 2023, this company X posted earnings of $161 billion for 2022, which makes it the highest ever recorded annual profit by a publicly listed company. And so let me repeat the question again. In March of 2023, this company X posted earnings of $161 billion for 2022, making it the highest ever recorded annual profit by a publicly listed company. I need you, our dear audience, to try and guess which company this is. We will reveal the answer as usual at the end of today's episode. And before we start off with this 2023 extravaganza, we still have the small matter of the question that Aditya had posed last week. Aditya.
I went and listened to the episode again, and what I had asked was which town in Istanbul has also sued another American Hollywood film?
Yes, I believe that was the
And
question,
I
word to
don't
word.
know.
Yes, and we are, straightforward looking to that answer as to which town in Istanbul has done this.
So there is a town in Istanbul called Turkey. No, I'm kidding. I'm not. I am going to go to the fact that it is not just Istanbul and it's not just a small town in it, but it's in fact the whole country of Turkey, which has sued not just American movies but American entertainment in general for using Thanksgiving and turkeys in general as a common plot device from every random bottle episode of Friends to Thanksgiving movies. I believe that is an infringement of Turkey's copyright. So the entire country of Turkey has sued Hollywood, according to me. I just made that up, but it's true now because I said it.
And while we get sued into oblivion by the country of Turkey, before that, let's do this recording and at least push out this episode. I'm not going to comment on that answer because, frankly, why would I? Let's start off with today's episode. As Aditya mentioned, the format is going to be I'll do Jan, he'll do Feb, then I'll do March, and so on and so forth until we reach December. Aditya, I'm going to start you off with the question from January. X was named after something which was described as human-made avoidable. In Jan of 2023, X was splashed across the news, mostly in India. And a few months later, X would again be in the news, this time in the US, because of X's position with regards to Elon Musk. Identify X. I have purposely made this very vague so as to stump Aditya's stupendous memory. So I believe the audience will be on my side on this.
Wait, let me clarify. X was described as something human made but avoidable.
Yes, X was named after something which has been described as human made avoidable.
Oh, X was named after something that is human made but avoidable. And what is the Musk connection?
So in 2023, in January 2023, X was splashed across the news mostly in India. And then a few months later, X would again be in the news this time, but this time because of a position it took with regards to Elon Musk.
Interesting. Is it a newspaper?
No, it's not a
Is it a
newspaper. It is an
media source?
organization. I will give you that. It is an organization. A very small organization. It only has 9 employees as of the last filing. And I mean the number 9, not the German no.
Okay. And it is an Indian organization?
No, it is not. But it was across the news in India in January.
No, I need a bit more of a clue.
Okay. Let's just say that this is a company which is in the financial space.
Wait, okay. When you say human made but avoidable, it sounds like it's not something great. It's not a good thing. Am
No,
I
it's
on
not.
the right path,
It's
or
not.
is it?
It's not something great. Yes. The name of the company has been given very specifically because it's in a way quite related to what the company does. And it was huge news in India. And it caused something of a huge fallout here in India as well.
Is it some type of watchdog? I have no clue at all right
Yeah,
now.
so watchdog would not be an unreasonable way to describe them, but then they also make money of it.
No, I need another clue then.
When they did what they did in January, somebody in India lost a lot of money.
Adani, right? I think
Yes,
Adani was
yes.
featured in the report.
Yes, Adani was featured in this report of this company, which was named after a human made but avoidable disaster.
Oh God, this is one of those pieces of news that just.
I know. So X is a company, it's an activist company, research company, which takes up short selling positions. So they took up a short position against Adani, and then later they did the same, against Elon Musk during the time of his takeover on Twitter. So X is named after a man-made but avoidable disaster. Can you tell me which one this is?
Man-made but avoidable disaster. Is it the Hindenburg?
Yes, it is the Hindenburg Research Group, which only has 9
yeah.
employees. They are a short-selling activist research group which releases reports about corporate fraud and malfeasance, and then takes short-selling positions against those companies looking to make money. Interestingly enough, people who have heard of the Hindenburg, you all know that the Hindenburg was a big Zeppelin, right, which flew from Europe to America and then burnt up in America, causing the huge Hindenburg disaster. Do you know that America is partly responsible for that?
How do you? I don't know how that is.
So there's a lot of fuss made among quizzing circles and people who know about this, that the Hindenburg burnt up because the gas that they had used for keeping the Zeppelin afloat was hydrogen, which is flammable, instead of using something like helium, which is not flammable. The fact is, the Hindenburg was actually designed to use helium.
Okay, interesting.
But at that point of time, a lion's share of the world's helium reserves were in America's hands. And America refused to give it to the Nazi government. They put up trade restrictions. So, Germany wasn't able to source enough helium to keep using the Zeppelin. And because of that, they changed it to use hydrogen instead of helium. And that ended up being this huge disaster, one of the first live film disasters. The video is still harrowing to see almost a century later. So that disaster was described by the founder of Hindenburg Research Group as being human made but avoidable. And he says that's the same thing what they do. They look for companies which have corporate fraud and malfeasance, which is human made, but they feel that if people pay attention, these could be avoided.
Right. Interesting. Very cool. Very cool. Okay. I had no clue about this. All right. That was a great question, actually, and very much in accordance with our decided format. I don't know if my question fits the bill, but let me try. Okay.
Okay.
Celestine Lawson is an American businesswoman, fashion designer, and philanthropist. She has been famous for her work, but also for members of her family being very famous. Her maiden name was actually the result of a typo. And in a podcast episode a couple of years ago, she claimed that it had racist origins. So I'm going to quote her here. Celestine is talking about an instance where she confronted her mother about the typo in her birth certificate. So I said, well, why didn't you argue and make them correct it? And she said, I did one time, the first time, and I was told, be happy that you're getting a birth certificate because at one time, black people didn't even get birth certificates. So the context here is that Celestine had a typo in her birth certificate. When she asked her mother why it wasn't corrected, her mother told her this, that they basically laughed her out of the office, saying that black people didn't even get birth certificates at some point, so they should be happy that they had a birth certificate. Celestine also presumed that there was racism in the fact that the typo was in a part of the name which was French origin. So they basically didn't even bother trying to verify the spelling of that part of the name. How do we know this part of the name? And I will give you a hint based on the event in February 2023, but I'm just checking if you already know the answer.
Okay, I absolutely have currently no clue as to where this is going. Celestine Lawson,
Okay.
the name does not seem very familiar. And you said it's a French surname, right?
Okay, so Celestine's maiden name
Okay,
was a French origin word,
okay, yeah.
and that is what had the typo.
That had a typo. Okay, you give me the event, or at least how it's tangentially related to Feb. Maybe that'll spark a memory.
The last name, the maiden name of Celestine, is also the name of the person who established the record of most Grammy Awards in February this year.
Okay. So this would be Beyonce Knowles, who got 32 Grammys in February of this year. But Knowles, I don't know what the surname funda is for this one.
Okay, well, here's the deal. Celestine maiden name was Beyonce, except that the family name that Celestine came from was spelled Beyince. So Celestine is the only one who has her maiden name as Beyonce.
Oh,
And when Beyonce was born, she took her mother's maiden name as her first name, or rather, she was given the first name Beyonce.
oh,
And Beyonce Knowles is Celestine Knowles Lawson's daughter.
okay.
If not for that typo, today Celestine's daughter might have had a whole different name.
Yeah,
And racism played a part in how one of the greatest stars of today's pop culture got her name, got the moniker, which frankly is one of those few instances in history where a person doesn't even need a last name to be recognized. It is just Beyonce, and that's good enough.
exactly.
Um,
Queen Bee.
so
32 Grammys. No, that's
Queen Bee,
impressive.
32 Grammys. Do you know who the person was before her? So who held the record before Beyonce broke it?
I would have guessed somebody like Michael Jackson.
I would have thought so too. I would have thought maybe some famous band or famous individual artist. It is actually a Hungarian British orchestral and operatic conductor
What?
who served as a long-time music director of the Chicago Symphony Orchestra.
Oh,
He goes by the name George Solti.
George Salty.
Sholty.
Sholty. Oh, okay, nice, nice. I really would have thought it would have been like Beatles or Michael Jackson or somebody like that.
So would I, yeah. But George Sholti had 31 Grammys, and now Beyonce has 32.
32, which will only keep going. So I don't think anybody's breaking that record
Yeah.
anytime soon. Okay, let's move on to March of 2023. It's a little long question, but bear with me. People representing this country X had attended 2 UN committee meetings in Geneva in February. The first was a discussion on the representation of women in decision-making systems, organized by the Committee on Elimination of Discrimination Against Women. They also participated in a second session on sustainable development, hosted by the Committee on Economic, Social and Cultural Rights. However, on March 2nd, 2023, the UN, in what is practically an unprecedented statement, has said it will ignore statements made by the representatives of this country at these two official events. A UN official said their submissions were irrelevant and tangential to the issues being discussed. This is somewhat shocking on its face, considering that X's permanent ambassador had asked a question about indigenous rights and sustainable development during the second session. Which country are we talking about? So, which country did the UN quite flippantly dismiss? With good reason, I might add, but on the face of it, when you just look at the facts without knowing which country it is, it sounds quite rude and diplomatically complicated. So I wanted to identify the country.
What was the occasion?
There was no special occasion. It was just UN committee meetings being held, and representatives of this country just came in and attended those. And they were public meetings so that these countries could attend, technically.
Wow, okay. Tough questions this episode, Vineet. I must give it to you.
I will give you one clue which should help you. The country has a very close relation to India.
Country has a very close relation. Is it a good relation or is it a bad relation?
I wouldn't say it's a good relation.
Well, then my instinct is obviously to say Pakistan.
No, obviously not. The country's name has 4 words. Let's put it that way.
4 words.
So you would say the People's Republic of China, right? That
I
kind
was
of.
literally going to say People's Republic of China.
I know. That's why I went. No, it's not that. I mean, like, just imagine which kind of country it should be that the UN basically just bitch slaps them in a statement saying that you are irrelevant.
I mean, that would be a terrible stance for the UN to take, even if it was a very small country
Oh, it is a very small country.
and doesn't have a great relationship with India.
Yes. India hasn't commented on these events, but everybody knows where India stands on it.
Is it a neighboring country?
No, quite far away from India, actually. And here's the kicker: we don't exactly know where it is.
Huh? What?
So technically, we have an idea about roughly where it is, but we don't exactly know where it is. Maybe the government does, but none of us do. Like, if I asked you to point it out on a map, it will be very difficult for you. And also the fact that it's not marked on a map.
So confused. Because I was going to say, is it Wakanda or something? Is it a fictional country?
Technically, you wouldn't be wrong. But then how do you get...
wouldn't be-
You wouldn't be wrong when you said it's a country like Wakanda. So, I'll give you a clue. This should help you. Okay, now this country's leader, let's say, their leader of government, holds a record from the Asia Book of Records for the most number of traditional yoga poses performed in the span of 1 hour. And this is on the country's official website.
What is even happening? I'm so confused. I'm so confused by the hint that we don't exactly know where this country is. It is
Okay, I'll give you a clue. It's somewhere near Ecuador.
somewhere near Ecuador. What? How did we...
I mean, that much we know, but exactly where is it difficult? It's an island nation.
When you said that we are not quite sure where this country is, do you mean like a general person might not be able to pinpoint it, or do you mean in actuality people don't know where this country is?
I see. The governments have not specifically mentioned it, but I can tell you that the general public have no clue where exactly this country is. Like, if you wanted to fly there, I think it'll be a little difficult, unless you are within the inner circle.
What is even happening? I am so confused. No, Beneath, no, I have no clue whatsoever. What is this?
So I'll give you one last clue about this before I give you the answer. The permanent ambassador to the United Nations who visited and whose remarks and questions were so callously disregarded by the UN, the ambassador's name is Vijayapriya Nityananda.
Again, doesn't help me at all. I no.
Okay, I'll give it
just
to
me
you.
the answer.
So, have you heard of the United States of Kailasa?
No, I've not heard of this.
Okay, so you've heard of Swami Nityananda?
Oh, of course, yeah.
Yeah, so Swami Nityananda, when he was going to be arrested for his sexual misdeeds, fled the country and set up a new country called Kailasa also known as the United
Oh
States of
no.
Kailasa. We just know that it's somewhere. It's on an island somewhere off the coast of Ecuador. He's established his own central bank currency and whatnot, and he's been trying to get recognition for the same. He's wanted in India for sexual abuse and rape, and he's claiming diplomatic immunity now.
Jesus Christ. Oh God.
Yeah, and he still releases videos on social media in between. It's one of those videos you should really watch when you're a little high or drunk, because you would honestly think you were going mad.
All right, but can you explain how do they have official representatives? Like,
No,
are
this is just like, see, it's like me putting up a flag in my apartment and calling it the United States of Vinit's apartment. And then my
and
roommate, I
then
sent him to the UN saying that you are the official representative of the United
okay,
States. But he's done a lot of it.
got
There is
it.
a website. There is a United States of Kailasa. They have a Wikipedia page. They have ambassadors, and he actually hoodwinked a US town into believing that he was an actual country. And then the mayor of that town had to walk back his comments and the tie-up that the town had done with this fictional country. So the United States of Kailasa, shortly called USK.
USK. All right. Okay.
USK.
This is a massive TIL for me. I think I vaguely knew of some of this, but wow, I had no idea it was so concrete. Okay.
It's so bonkers, man. It's so bonkers. Just crazy.
Concrete is the wrong word. Bonkers is the right word. Yeah. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Okay. All right. So let us move on to, I believe, April.
Yes, that's your month, April.
Okay. On April 16th of 2023, a Broadway production played its final performance. It was the longest running show in Broadway history. Why is the core prop, the main prop in this Broadway production, very different from the one that appears on the poster? So the one that appears on the poster is very different from the one that is used during the production. So I guess you have to
Okay.
figure out what production I'm talking about and what is
Yeah.
the prop.
What is the date again you said? April?
It ended on April 16, 2023.
April 16, 2023. This was the longest running Broadway production, you said, right? And you're asking me the main prop is different from what is actually used, or at least what's on the poster.
The main poster, the actual official poster, has a prop prominently featured on it, but the prop when it shows up in the production is significantly different.
Okay. Broadway productions that have been going on for that long. Is it Rent? Is it Rent still being
Nope.
played? No, it's not Rent. The Lion King is still being played. I know that. And they've stopped playing it. It's like, this is it. We are not going to play this anymore.
The original Broadway production played its final performance on April 16th, 2023.
Okay, so the original production with the original cast and crew and all. Okay, fine.
Well, obviously the cast has changed. It has been going on for a very long time. Yeah.
How long would you be able to give me a time frame of how long this has been running?
Yes, I can. I can tell you that it premiered on October 9th, 1986.
86. 37 years. And you said a prop. Is the Phantom of the Opera?
Well, you're right, actually. But let me just quickly clarify. It opened in London in 1986. In Broadway, it opened in 1988. It is Phantom of the Opera.
Oh,
Do you know
okay.
what prop I'm talking about?
I've not watched the Phantom of the Opera play or Broadway thing. The only thing I know about it is what they adapted for the movies. And in the movies, he always has that kind of half mask thing. Is it that?
Perfect, yeah. So, do you know how it is different from the one that features on the poster?
I know how it is different. The original was given to Shah Rukh Khan to use in Jawan.
Oh, it is true. Yeah, you have absolutely cracked this question in a very Aditya way, but not in an actual answer way. So, it is the mask. Can you visualize what the poster looks like?
He's wearing this kind of white half mask which covers like half his face. It's like diagonally cut off. That's all I can vision.
That is what is the mask is in the production. The poster features a full mask. It is actually a full mask
Oh,
that would not be cut off diagonally.
Oh, I didn't know that. Because as I said, now I've not seen the poster or the playbill or anything like that. But I remember the movie had that thing, that iconic kind of half mask. I think it was Gerard Butler
It
who
was
played.
Gerard Butler, which was a controversial choice for playing the character. It is the case that the Phantom of the Opera, even in the theater productions, has a half mask on. So
Okay,
this should be fairly straightforward. There isn't anything too convoluted about it. Why would they go with the half mask instead of the full mask?
because or to emote better. It's very difficult to emote in a mask, right?
You could not have phrased it any more accurately. The biggest concern was regarding the Phantom's ability to emote. There are also some practical consideration of miking and stuff like that,
Hmm.
because of course it is a musical and they do sing. So it was easiest to do it with a half mask, and that's how the iconic mask came to be. And the mask on the poster is still the full mask, which is a very interesting choice.
Whoa, I didn't know that.
I would stop asking the question here, or rather, I would move on to the next month. But I genuinely want to ask you at least one
Huh.
more question. So let me see if I can
Okay.
get through this very quickly. Okay.
Okay, great.
On April 20th, there was an attempt that failed by one of the largest companies in the world, or let's say one of the most prominent companies in the world. They tried something and they failed at it.
Okay.
The owner of the company was blamed for rushing to hold this event on the given date.
Mm-hmm.
Very vague, but if you want to take a guess.
Wait, that's it. That something happened and it failed, and the company, the owner was blamed. Dude, that could be anything of 100 companies.
Fair enough.
Okay.
But the owner was blamed for trying to rush to do it on this specific date because he thought it would be funny, or at least it is alleged that it would, given his predisposition to
What date are
matters
we
like
talking
this.
about, as you mentioned?
April 20th.
I'm guessing this is an American company.
It is an American company.
Yeah, because it's 420, right? Americans write the month first, so this will be 420, which has very different connotations in India. But yeah, 420 would be marijuana, right? So
Yeah.
something failed because this has to be Elon Musk, man. It cannot be anybody else.
You know what? I'll give it to you. Elon Musk, SpaceX tried to do a rocket launch on April 20th,
Okay.
and that failed. It was going to be one of the largest rocket launches at that point of time, and it failed. And a lot of people blamed Elon Musk for rushing this, allegedly because he wanted to do it on 420. He has denied it, but well, knowing Elon Musk, it is
Yeah,
very
this is the guy
probable
who
that that
went
was.
and smoked a marijuana on Joe Rogan's show. Uh,
He did smoke a joint. Yeah.
okay, nice question. Let's move on to May, a very eventful May. And this is a very long question. It's a very indulgent question because I came across this piece of trivia on a podcast and it kind of fascinated me. May not be as interesting to most other people. So let me just put that caveat up front. But I've put enough clues that this you can work it out. If you don't know it, you should probably be able to work it out, right? So this is a story about a stone. It's an oblong block of red sandstone having a long and rich history. Some even claim it's the biblical stone of Jacob. However, in reality, it is more likely to have been quarried from a mine near the village A. Okay, the first thing is a village, which I'm giving an appellation of A, in the country X. The stone was seized and taken away by the country Y as spoils of war in 1296. In 1914, suffragettes planted a bomb next to it. The explosion actually split the stone into two. However, this was not discovered until 1950 when four students stole the stone and whisked it away covertly back to the country X. 4 months later, however, the stone was returned to the country Y. In 1996, the stone was permanently returned to X on one condition. That condition was fulfilled in May 2023. The stone was again in news in November of 2023 when three members of an environmental activist group smashed the stone's protective glass case and spray painted the word Istresa Tuatna Tigerna. Okay. Now, as I mentioned, the stone is named after the village near which it probably was mined, right? A, as if you remember. You would probably know the name A because it's the name of a baked good. It is
Okay.
usually made out of either wheat flour or oatmeal with baking powder as a leavening agent and baked on sheet pans, often sweetened and occasionally glazed with egg wash. So see if you can work out which countries are we are talking about, whether it's which country is X, which country is Y, and see if you can work out the name A, because this is known as the Stone of A.
X was the country where the suffragettes attacked it, and Y
No,
was the
no,
country where
no,
it was returned to.
no. X
The
is
other
the
way around.
country from which it was taken as spoils of war in
Hmm.
1296,
Okay.
more than 700 years ago, right? In 1914, so then since 1296, it's been in the country Y, and in 1914, suffragettes planted a bomb to, destroy it, but it didn't happen. It covertly split into two, but nobody realized it until there was a theft made of the stone by 4 students in 1950. However, it was returned 4 months later. Country Y, after almost 700 years, in 1996, which was the 700th anniversary, returned the stone back to its original country, but with one condition. And that condition was fulfilled in May of 2023.
Was it May of 2023 or did you say November 2023?
May. We are only May, right? You just finished April, I'm in May. In November, it came into the news again. It came into the news again in November when environmental activists defaced the stone.
Oh, sorry. Okay. That was the context from November 2023. Got it.
See if you can work out the countries first and then we'll go to the name.
Okay. So, because you said suffragettes, I'm going to take a guess. Is it the UK?
So which country is which country are we talking about?
Whichever country was the one which was displaying it, which had taken it as spoil of war. So, Y, I believe, right? Y was the one which took it.
Okay. Then
Why would be UK? 1296. I was thinking India, but none of the colonial expansion makes sense for that time frame. Oh, then it would be, I want to say Scotland, but it could be Wales or Ireland because I'm not very sure as to when
it
that
is
happened. All
Scotland.
of
It
that.
is Scotland. I was actually going to give you a clue. The line from Ted Lasso. How many countries are in this country?
Yes.
So
Very
yes, you've worked
accurately
it
put.
out. It is X was Scotland, which makes Y
Y was England.
England. So yes,
Okay.
fantastic.
So not UK, but England. Got it.
Stone, which is named after the village it was buried next to, called still the Stone of A. Right. It was taken as spoils of war in 1296, and
Okay.
then it was brought to England. It was damaged in 1914. It was stolen in 1950. And then in 1996, 700 years after it was taken away, it was returned to Scotland, but on one condition. That condition was fulfilled in May of 2023. Can you guess what that was?
Can't have anything to do with Brexit.
No.
Hmm.
Something massive happened in May of 2023. Something huge, lot of pomp and circumstance. And
Oh, since you're talking about the UK and pomp and circumstance, was the king crowned in May?
yes, the coronation of King Charles III happened in May of
Right.
2023. So the stone was
Okay.
brought down for that. Now, before I tell you the whole story, do you know what the stone is called?
It is named after some baking good. Now I'm thinking of.
No, actually, we know it because it also shares a name with the baking good. It's not actually named after the baking good.
Right. Not named after the baking good, but it has. The name is the same. English pie, shepherd's pie.
Very stereotypical tea snack, at least for England.
Biscuit doesn't make sense. Oh, scone?
Yes, very good. So it is indeed the stone of scone. I think it's pronounced
Okay.
scone, but I'm just going with scone because it's stone of scone sounds better. So let me just give you a little
Does.
bit of feedback, and I apologize to our audience who felt this might have been a long-winded question, but then I need to put some of these in to satisfy the inner nerd. So the stone of scone, also known as the stone of destiny, is an oblong block of red sandstone which was originally used in the coronation of the monarchs of Scotland. And after the
Okay.
13th century, the coronation of the monarchs of England, Great Britain, and the United Kingdom. It's also known as Jacob's Pillow Stone and the Tanis Stone. Historically, the artifact was kept at the now ruined Scone Abbey in Scone, near Perth, Scotland. It was seized by Edward I's forces during the English invasion of Scotland in 1296 and was used in the coronation of the monarchs of England as well as the monarchs of Great Britain and the United Kingdom. Monarchs used to sit on the stone of Scone. So if you go to Westminster Abbey, the coronation where it happens, for hundreds of years, English kings used to be crowned when they were sitting on the stone of Scone. It was
Okay.
only in the 17th century that they added a wooden platform just above that so that they could sit a little more comfortably. In 1914, suffragettes, in their struggle to get equal rights for women, planted a bomb next to the stone. The explosion actually split the stone in two, but they didn't realize it. In 1950, four students by the name of Ian Hamilton, Gavin Vernon, Kay Matheson, and Alan Stewart stole the stone. So while they were trying to steal the stone, it split into two. They thought it was because
Right.
they broke the stone. But anyway, they managed to get the two pieces across the border back to Scotland, and then 4 months later it was returned. On the 700th anniversary, they said that, okay, you can take it back now. The British government returned the stone to Scotland, and when not in use in coronations, and it was transported to Edinburgh Castle, where now it is kept with the Scottish crown jewels.
Okay. Fascinating. That's pretty cool.
I just found it really interesting, the image of a king being crowned just because he's sitting on a block of sandstone, which is of course quite meaningful culturally to them, but the image was a little funny to me.
Yeah, well, kings have been crowned for much stupider reasons, so not too much of a stretch.
Okay, your question.
Okay. So this question has relevance to the month of June, but the relevance will be made known a bit later. So let us start off with a very simple but interesting example of an occurrence of a phenomenon. Okay. And here I'm talking about a very specific celebrity to exemplify the situation. This celebrity was born on 30th December 1995. 2 days later, he was 2 years old. Who is this celebrity, if you want to take a guess? Or what am I talking about? What phenomenon am I talking about?
So, I actually know this.
No,
I
I'm
don't know
very
the celebrity
impressed.
you're talking about, but
Ah,
there used to be this thing in South Korea where if you are born on the new year, you automatically become 1 year older. Like your birthday is always considered as 1st of January or something like that. So that happens whenever when they're born on 30th, and I'm in the ballpark, right?
I will give it to you. I will give it to you. I think the specifics are a bit off. But you know what, Vineet? I said I'm impressed and I'm going to take it back
Oh
because you
God.
knowing random obscure trivia doesn't impress me anymore. It is routine. I was impressed that you were going to tell me which K-pop celebrity I am
No, no,
referring
no,
to
no,
over
no.
here.
I have absolutely no, no.
Um,
I don't know which K-pop celebrity
that's,
this could be.
I was going to be blown away that Vineet is all caught up on his K-pop. Okay. Well, this one goes out to all the ARMY and BTS
Oh,
fans out there.
I don't know any of the BTS people, man.
So the reason that he became famous, or rather, he is obviously already famous, but his birthday became famous was because phenomenal stature of this particular individual as being part of BTS. His name is Kim Tae Hyung, and I might be
Mm,
mispronouncing, but Kim Tae Hyung, also known as
okay.
V, and super famous guy, part of BTS, and he was in the news media a lot, especially in June, because on 20th June, South Koreans scraped that particular
The
way
law.
of counting age. I'll explain what the way is. But Kim Tae-young's birthday is 30th December 1995. So 2 days later, he was on 1996, 1st January, he was already 2 years old. And the reason for this is because South Koreans used to count, and not just South Koreans, actually, a lot of East Asian countries and societies used to do this, but South Korea was the only major country still doing it as of this year, when they finally removed it, was that they used to count age as starting from one
Yeah. Instead of
from
zero.
the day
Yeah.
you were born.
Yeah.
So that would be your age when you were born, and then another number was added, or rather, you became 2 years old on the 1st of January of the next year. So, regardless of when your birthday falls during the year, on the 1st of January of every year, your age increased by one.
Yeah.
And this was used very commonly, even in some official places, and of course led to a lot of confusion because the internationally agreed way of deciding your age is based on your birthday and not the birth year, and especially not counted as one from the day you were born. So in on 20th June this year, a bunch of South Koreans became younger under this new age counting law, and they finally decided to remove that other way of counting, at least from any official places and sources. And President Yoon Suk Yeol actually pushed strongly for this change when he ran for office last year. So this was one of his campaign
He ran on this
promises,
platform.
and yeah, and he delivered on it pretty quickly. Taehyung became one of the poster childs for why this is a very confusing system and why Korea needs to scrap it.
Okay.
And this happened in June of this year.
Nice, nice. I knew this fact. It wasn't very clear in my head, but I knew the fact that they counted years very weird. Taehyun name seems familiar. I think I've read it somewhere. I know that BTS exists as a band. I've seen their performances. It's just amazing. But if you ask me about any of those individual people in those, the individual band members, I would be hard pressed to name even one. But I have to say, from what videos that I have seen, their synchronicity is fantastic.
Yeah, and because BTS is often compared to Beatles in terms of just the
What?
sheer scale. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh, BTS is very much considered the Beatles of well, whatever today's generation, in the way that they have shaped pop culture and the amount
Oh,
of
like
crazy
Beatlemania,
like
as in you mean the fan following thing.
fan following and the impact that they have had on music and culture in
Wow.
general.
Okay.
The same way that the Beatles came in with their mop of hair and the British invasion happened. The same way K-pop and their fashion choices, and especially BTS, obviously, has made a
Wow.
global impact. So BTS is compared to Beatles, but I do wonder because BTS individual members have very strong followings, and this might be because of the prevalence of social media. But I wonder if Beatles, every individual member had that stronger personality that the world knew.
No, Lennon definitely did. Lennon and
Hmm.
McCartney definitely did. George Harrison
Hmm.
had, let me put it this way, he had a more cult following. Like people like me.
Okay.
I mean, you wouldn't find his name as the favorite Beatle of all time. That's usually just
Hmm.
McCartney or Lennon.
Hmm. Lennon.
As for Ringo, well, I think the Beatles said it best during an interview. I think it was a press conference or something, and a journalist asked them, "Do you think that Ringo is one of the best drummers in the world?" And I remember somebody from the band actually replied, "Ringo's not even the best drummer in this band."
I think I've heard of this before.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. And a quick throwback to a question from earlier this year, with regarding best of the Beatles. You can
Ah.
go find that trivia by listening to all of our episodes because I don't remember which episode it was, or googling it myself. What does best of the Beatles mean, and how is it a funny little piece of trivia? Okay, beneath your question.
Okay, so we are halfway through. Moving on to July. So this is a silly question, but it's one of those weird but wonderful human things that happens. What humans are capable of and that kind of thing.
Mhm.
In July of 2023, a team of 30 people, 30 that's 30, 30 people, broke two world records when they traveled 7 kilometers, taking more than 12 hours to do so. They had traveled from Mandora to Mindle Beach. Do you have any idea what records they broke?
Nothing strikes a bell.
Now, it's not mainstream news, obviously, but it is just one of those fascinating pieces of trivia that I've had. I've never had a kind of reason to ask it until now.
Hmm.
Obviously, lots of clues will be given. So, this is in Australia, and a group of 30 people traveled 7 kilometers, taking more than 12 hours to do so.
Does it have anything to do with the Uluru?
No.
But you said beach, right?
Yeah. So, Mindle Beach and
Oh, okay.
Mandora, they're both on the waterfront.
Oh, yeah, then Uluru doesn't make any sense. Hmm.
Both are on the waterfront. And it's a distance of 7 kilometers, but they took 12 hours. But they broke 2 world records when they did so.
Does it have anything to do with the geographical formation, the 12 apostles?
No.
I was wondering if there are a bunch of rocks
Yeah.
that are
I
called
know
the
what you're
12
talking about. No,
apostles.
this has nothing to do with that. Okay, let me just give you another clue. If you stood at the Mandora boat ramp and looked across the bay, you would see Mintle Beach. And a straight line as the crow flies, the distance in that fashion is around 7 kilometers.
Wait, you'd be able to see it, and the straight line distance is 7 kilometers.
Yes.
But again, I have no clue as to why that would break records. No, I'll need some sort of a hint over here.
Okay, so they traveled underwater. So the 7 kilometers were traveled underwater. But why would that be a record?
Underwater, and you said they took 12 hours, so
More than 12 hours. They had to do more than 12 hours because while traveling, only one person could do something, and that person had to be changed out every 15 minutes because of the water pressure. So basically, I'm asking you to guess what they traveled in.
Did they travel on foot across the
No, that I think.
seabed?
No, not that.
What did they travel in?
They traveled in something. They traveled in, a form of transportation underwater from Mandora to Mindle Beach.
Yeah, okay. Did as an homage to the official animal of Australia, did one person
No.
create a pouch in the front of his belly and carry the other person in it?
No,
Like,
no, no,
I'm
no, no.
so
This is an
confused.
actual mechanized form of transportation.
No, I have no clue.
I think there are no more clues to give. And frankly, this was just a fun question. It's not something that I would expect anybody to know unless they are crazy like me. But the vehicle that they used was from 1978. And it had been planned to do something like this in the mid 80s, but that did not work out. So they tried to do it now and they were successful and they broke 2 records. Like, what are the modes of transportation that come to mind?
In the 1980s, 70s, right?
I mean, yeah, that's just an
Um,
additional fact. Like, just think of what kind of transportation. Obviously, I wouldn't ask you if this was a submarine, right? There's no point in me asking you if it's a submarine. So it's obviously not
hmm.
a submarine. What other crazy? And remember, this is Australia.
You also said water pressure, so I'm assuming it is something underwater.
Yeah, it was
Um,
basically they traveled 7 kilometers underwater between
mhm.
Mandora to Mindle Beach in a mechanized form of transport.
Hmm.
Okay, I will give it to you.
Yeah, no, I have no idea.
Yeah, they traveled between Mandora to Mindle Beach in a 1978 Toyota Land Cruiser.
Oh, what? Why?
So this established the record for the longest and deepest underwater drive. So they drove
Mhm.
from Mindle Beach to Mandora
Oh,
underwater on the
okay.
seabed. The driver had to be changed out every 15 minutes to avoid problems with underground water pressure. It was a team of 30. They had changed out the engine with a waterproof electric engine and replaced the
Okay.
tires with 150 kg water filled tires. And they drove
Wow,
underwater for 7 kilometers, giving them the record for the longest and deepest underwater drive.
that is so strange. Okay.
Now, I just love, why I particularly love this piece of trivia is because did you used to watch Top Gear in its heyday? And when I mean heyday, when Jeremy Clarkson and all were hosting it.
I have heard so much about it. I knew a lot of friends who used to. I've only seen clips of it, so I can't
Ah,
claim to have watched
okay.
Top Gear.
So there was this
So,
amazing episode many years ago
hmm.
where they tried to destroy a car, and the car in question was
Okay.
a Toyota Hilux.
Okay.
Okay, so the first thing they did was they tried bashing it against walls, against trees. That didn't work. Then they dropped
Okay.
something on it. That also didn't work. It
Interesting.
was still functional. And then finally, what they did was not finally, then what they did was they parked it out on the harbor during low tide.
Okay. Okay.
The tide came in, the car was completely submerged. And then after the tide went out and they brought the car back, a mechanic was able to get it
Hmm.
started without replacing any parts.
Okay.
So it was still functioning. So they were like, we have not managed to destroy this car, so now we will have to absolutely destroy this car. So they took the car and put it on top of a building which was due for demolition. The entire building
Okay.
had been rigged up with explosives to implode. You've seen those videos of the buildings being
Yeah,
imploded,
yeah,
right?
yeah.
They put this Hilux on top of that and they imploded it. The car was buried on so much rubble. They dug it out and the car started again.
Oh my God.
So finally, they decided, okay, this car is just too valuable, so we are going to put it in the museum, and they have a Top Gear museum, and that car is still there, the indestructible Hilux. So I was really, I saw the similarities that they picked a Toyota Land Cruiser, which is, I think, on the same platform. It's not the same thing, but it's the same platform as the Hilux. So they had to pick the indestructible car for the same thing.
They had to. No, I love it.
Yeah, which is why the Hilux is the preferred vehicle of transportation for terrorists everywhere.
Oh, wow. Okay. I'm surprised you know this, Vineet, but sure, let's move past that red flag.
No,
ignoring it
seriously,
completely.
this is an accepted fact. Look up any
Oh, it
kind
is an
of
accepted
footage.
fact.
Yeah, you look up any kind of footage, and I'm telling you, you don't even need any statistics to do so. Look up any kind of footage from the past 30 years, and you will always find, especially in the Middle East and Afghanistan and all, you will find terrorists traveling around in Hilux pickups. They
Interesting.
always travel in Toyota Hilux pickups.
It's like how the preferred mode of transportation for kidnappers is the Omni.
Omni van.
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay. All right. So my next question, again, starts off with general trivia, but the connect to August 2023 will be apparent soon enough.
Okay.
All right.
Hit me.
INCOSPAR was an organization set up in India in 1962. How was the founder commemorated this year?
Okay. So INCOSPAR was the space research and atomic organization which was initially built to coordinate events for the atomic and the space research program in India. So I would I would think it would be Sarabhai or Bhabha, but how were they commemorated this year? Is it Rocket Boys too?
The audience members can't see it, but I'm making a very annoyed face right now because I tried to make this tough. How do you challenge this man? This man just refuses to be challenged.
No.
Okay,
I went down the rabbit hole after watching Rocket Boys 1 and 2. And there was also this excellent podcast by Harsha Bhogle on the early years of ISRO.
okay.
So, yeah, that's fair. But I haven't answered the question. I just told you what INCOSPAR is, right? So, what is the answer? Is it Rocket Boys? Is that how you.
No, not Rocket Boys. The context is, or the relevance to August of this year is that a massive event happened on 23rd of August,
Massive event happened on 23rd of August.
which
And
in a way commemorated the founder of
um,
INCOS.
Chandrayaan 3.
Yeah, right.
It
Yeah,
landing
yeah.
on the moon, right? But
Chandrayaan landed on the moon.
so Vikram Sarabhai then.
Vikram Sarabhai, but how is he commemorated?
Did they name the place or something after them? Sarabhai Crate? I think something like that.
Close enough. I'll give it to you. The lander on
Huh.
Chandrayaan is called Vikram.
Oh, yes. Now it comes back to me. Yes, the lander was called Vikram.
Lander.
Yes, and this was the perfect year. They could have blasted the soundtrack to Vikram while the lander was coming down. It could have been Vikram. Okay, you've not seen the movie, so then.
No. Even if I would have seen this movie, it is very tough to reconcile that you're such an intelligent man and
No,
then you
stop it.
say these things which are just
Stop it.
absolutely ridiculous.
Stop it. Ridiculous is right. Yeah, but I was going for funny. But anyway, no. But yeah, so it was frankly the best. It would have been so awesome if when the lander was landing, like they blasted, because ISRO has a large population of Tamilian scientists, right? So it would make absolute sense for them to blast the soundtrack to Vikram from the speakers of ISRO while it is landing. Now that would have been badass.
You and I were not there. Maybe they did that, Who knows?
No, I don't think they did. Not with Modi there, no. With the Prime Minister Modi there, I don't think they would have done that. A lot more decorum and protocol has to be observed when you have the Prime Minister in the house.
Well, that's where you get noise cancelling headphones and you blast it in your own ears and make sure nobody else can hear it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
I don't know why I complained about you making terrible jokes when that seems to be the entire purpose of me on this podcast. Okay.
No, no,
Uh,
no. Okay, this is an
your
easy
question.
one. I guess I'm fairly sure you'll crack this quickly. Costing $2.3 billion. That's billion with a B. It is the largest of its kind and currently the only one in the world, though maybe not for long, because more are planned for London, Abu Dhabi, and a few other cities. Paul Hewson and Co. conducted the inauguration in September of 2023. Can you tell me what I'm talking about? What is it that cost $2.3 billion, is the largest of its kind, and may soon have similar ones in Abu Dhabi, London, and Paul Hewson and Co. were the ones who inaugurated the place.
Inaugurated a place. So it is a place that we're talking
Yeah,
about.
it is. Okay, I kind of gave that away, but yeah, that it's fine. It's still fine. It's something that cost. It's obviously a venue or something that cost $2.3 billion to make, and Paul Hewson and Co. inaugurated it in September.
No, I will need a hint. I have no clue as to what this
Okay,
could be.
the clue would be for you to try and guess who Paul Hewson and Co. are. Obviously, they are not known by that name.
Paul Hewson. Hewson. How do you spell Hewson?
Hewson.
Hewson. Hewson.
Obviously,
Okay.
it's not the name we know him by, which is why I ask it with such confidence.
Yeah, exactly. I'm just trying to figure out where he could be from, also based on the name. But no, that does
Yeah.
not seem to be. This group of people inaugurated something, a venue, a location.
Yes, in
Which
September of
cost,
2023, largest of its kind.
well, because it is a birth name versus something that we probably know this person by. And you said and co, so I'm guessing there are more people. So I'm guessing it has to
Yes.
be maybe a band.
Yes, very good.
Okay,
You're on the right track.
band inaugurated. Then I guess it'll have to be. Oh, I was going to say a venue, a performance venue, but I'm going to go with some sort of a musical hall of fame. Well, it can't be the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because that already exists.
Going colder. You are closer with venue. You were actually very hot with venue.
Oh, so they inaugurated a venue. Oh, interesting.
Something that cost
And they're
$2.3 billion.
$2.3 billion, and they. Oh, but it doesn't have to be a musical venue, is it? Is it a musical
No,
venue?
they can do a
No.
lot of things there. It's like Madison Square Garden. You can use it for
Oh.
boxing. You can use it for
And-
venues.
Sorry, where was this venue again?
I did not mention where it is because the moment I tell you where it is, there is only one answer.
Okay, that's what. Can you give me a country, or even
The
that
US.
would be too much of a given? No, yeah, I'm quite lost.
Okay, Paul Hewson and Co. Okay, this is a cryptic clue, like a cryptic crossword clue. They come from a place where the streets have no name.
The streets have no name. This sounds so familiar.
Yes.
Yeah, music is not my.
Paul Hewson has a very famous fashion choice, and not many people know that fashion choice is actually because of a medical condition.
Okay, I'm just taking a wild guess here. Is it by any chance U2?
Haha! Very good. It is U2. So
Okay.
which venue are we talking about?
Sorry, but before that, I'm going to clarify what is the fashion choice though.
The glasses that he wears.
Bono, right? Yeah.
Bono, yes. Bono. Paul Hewson is Bono. Bono always wears dark glasses. It's not actually a fashion choice. He suffers from glaucoma, which is increased pressure in your
Oh.
eyes. So then he always wears those glasses because of that. But people think it's like one of those fashion choices. He's a rock star, so he always wears glasses anywhere. I mean, like, have you ever seen his eyes? You always see him with those glasses, right?
Interesting. So Bono inaugurated.
U2, basically. U2
location.
inaugurated. They were the first one to
U2
inaugurate this
inaugurated.
venue. It was in Las Vegas.
Is it the Eye?
Close enough. It's the Sphere, the Las Vegas Sphere. It became
the
viral
Sphere, yeah.
because of it became viral because they put a picture of an eye outside of it and people just went crazy because it was just
Right.
so the Sphere is a huge spherical venue with the largest LED screen in the world, with the largest resolution LED screen in the world. It can accommodate 18 to 20,000 people on standing room, and it has this huge wraparound screen. And U2 perform the video of U2 performing there, and that's like wow.
I actually remember this U2 inauguration thing now that you said. Yeah, go ahead.
It's just fantastic. So the Sphere was conceived as a partnership between Madison Square Garden Company, That was my hidden
Mm,
clue over there. And the Las Vegas
nice.
Sands Corporation. The project was launched in 2018. The interior of the sphere is fitted with the world's largest and most complex LED screen, measuring 15,000 square meters. It features a
Okay.
16K resolution wraparound display, and the exoskeleton is fitted with approximately 54,000 square meters of LED display space. There are
Right.
1.2 million pucks, each containing 48 individual LEDs that can display 256 million different colors, transforming the exterior into a monumental billboard. And they're planning
Mm.
one for many other cities, including London, Abu Dhabi. So yeah, we can probably see one of those over there.
Okay. Very interesting. Very cool.
I mean, like, given the monumental cost, I don't know how they're ever going to break even. Like $2.3 billion, man. Wow.
If I'm not wrong, I remember reading reports of how it was running in a loss for the first few months also.
Yeah, nah, it'll have to be, nah, with such a huge cost.
No, I don't even mean the fixed cost. I believe the operational costs are also very high.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
like, just the electricity bill, man. My God.
That, yeah. But anyways. Okay, fun question. We have moved on to October 2023. Yes. So this is an event that happened on the 2nd of October 2023.
Okay.
A little Gandhi Jayanti celebration. Well, no, it wasn't a Gandhi Jayanti celebration, but it happened on 2nd of October.
Okay.
Two people were again commemorated.
Okay.
Let me give you a little background about these two people and you tell me how they were honored and commemorated. Caitlin was born and raised in Hungary
Mm-hmm.
in a small home without a running water, refrigerator, television, and from there pursued academics and at some point found herself in University of Pennsylvania.
What did you say the name again?
Caitlin,
Caitlin. Okay.
she
Okay.
found herself in the University of Pennsylvania. Her field of choice was something that wasn't looked upon as being very promising.
Okay.
So before seeing the very fruitful results that obviously eventually happened from her research, she had been demoted, her pay had been cut, and she was described herself as not being of faculty quality, never granted tenure as well.
Okay.
This
Wow.
is the first person, Caitlin. The other individual is this gentleman called Drew. Drew was born in Massachusetts in the US. He, through his education and hard work, at some point also found himself in the University of Pennsylvania, working alongside of Caitlin. In a chance encounter where both Caitlin and Drew were photocopying some documents, they met at the photocopy machine. They realized and they were discussing how their field of study is completely ignored and not given enough importance, not given enough funding, and they decided to start working together. These two individuals were commemorated in 2023 on 2nd of October. How were they commemorated?
I have one question.
Mhm.
Is the Drew in this question Drew Wiseman?
Vineet, man, just why don't you just ask the questions? I'm gonna stop. I'm not gonna ask any more questions.
No, see, to be fair, I was quite deep into this for 2 years.
That is true.
Because
That
as
is
people may or may not know, I work in the diagnostic industry. So knowing the name of the people who got the Nobel Prize for developing the mRNA vaccine is not unfair. No, because most of the time, I
I
my problem has always been that, not problem per se. The Nobel Prize always rewards discoveries made maybe decades ago, or there was a tiny discovery, or there was something that is very difficult for people to relate to, especially when it comes to physiology and medicine and even physics. But this year,
Hmm.
the medicine award, the Nobel Prize for Physiology, went to something that made a palpable impact on everybody's lives.
No, for sure. And you know what? When I came up with the question, I was like, "Oh, it's going to be a great piece of trivia." But yeah, while I was asking the question, I realized I'm asking Vineet, who not only knows so much trivia but is also from that field. So fair enough. You were only obliged to crack this very quickly. But lovely crack. I'll give you the full names. You already mentioned Drew Wiseman.
I don't remember
The
the
other
other lady,
individual,
Caitlin. I don't remember her last name.
Kathleen Carico. Carico.
Carrico. Okay.
who's a Hungarian American biochemist. She had been studying RNA for a very long time. In the 90s, I believe, this particular field lost its steam. Most people thought it did not hold too much promise. At the point where she joined with Weizmann and they could start collaborating, they realized that there was a lot of potential in the vaccine space for RNAs. They overcame a bunch of hurdles and finally published a very landmark paper in 2005. They have published a bunch of other ones as well, but 2005 is the one that is considered the most important in their field of research. Yes, you're right. They were given the 2023 Nobel Prize in Physiology and Medicine for their discoveries concerning nucleoside base modifications that enabled the development of effective mRNA vaccines against COVID 19. So, very, very well deserved Nobel Prize. Yes, you're right.
Yes. No, because we have to understand that what the work they did basically gave us a template to deal with diseases where you want a vaccine quickly, but the traditional methods would take years, maybe if not decades.
Hmm.
This gives us a template to develop vaccines very, very quickly. The only thing is
Hmm.
how long and what effect these kind of vaccines have in the long term. Obviously, will take decades for us to still understand. But this was groundbreaking work. What they did.
The patent that came out of their research was the exact patent that was given to Moderna
Hmm.
when they developed their vaccines. So it is pretty much a very direct impact of what they've done. What actually blew my mind was the fact that her work was met with so much skepticism and obstacles. And
Unfortunately, this is quite true. If you are a woman in academia, this is not unheard of.
sad state of affairs, but hey, at least well deserved. What really shocked me was the amount of pushback that she faced. Like literally being demoted and having a pay cut is it sounds pretty insane. I don't know much about the field
No,
of
because
academia, but it sounds.
because especially in the US and all, most of these academic departments run on donations and grants and funding. So if you're
Hmm,
going to be
hmm.
studying or doing research on something which is not going to bring in eventual money to the department, they're not going to look upon you with favor.
Well, the world has them to thank because Caitlin decided to stick with it, and yeah, we are all alive now.
Okay. So moving on to November, we are reaching the end of 2023. In November, when this song charted at number one at the UK singles chart, it set the record for the longest gap between number one singles by any musical act. If possible, tell me the
Okay.
name of the song, or if you can just at least tell me the act and what was so special about this song.
Did the band get back together after a very long time or
No,
something?
no, no, no. That would have required an act of God.
Oh, so I'm assuming people are dead
Yes.
in this particular band. I know Kate Bush had this, but that would have been
No,
last
no,
year
no.
when
No, that
Running
was
Up the Hill.
Running Up the Hill, Stranger Things, but no.
Yeah.
This was actually a new single. I'm not talking about an old single get charting again. This was a new single.
Oh,
I'll give you a clue. The longest gap between number one singles by any music act, the record that was set, is for 54 years.
wow. 54 years. So from 2023, that means we are talking 1969.
Yeah.
1969. Oh boy, that was a good decade for music and a
Yeah.
lot of famous bands.
Yes.
Hmm.
I will give you a clue. As with everything else this year, AI played a role.
Oh, I remember this. They had some of the original recordings or something, and they tried to recreate the entire music, and they got a bunch of new artists to come and collaborate on it to
Some.
step in for.
Do you remember the band? Do you remember which band it was?
Uh, since it's a 1969 and that was the last time they topped the charts, I'm just gonna guess. Is it Beatles?
Yes, it is the Beatles.
Okay.
Okay, the song's name is called Now and Then. So,
Okay.
I'll give you a little bit of the history of the song. So, Now and Then is a soft rock ballad that was written by John Lennon and recorded solo in 1977,
Oh.
long after the band had broken up. He wrote it as a solo
Mhm.
record and he recorded it at home.
Okay.
He recorded a small demo at home but left it unfinished. 3 years later, Lennon
Mhm.
died, and the song was then considered as a potential third Beatles reunion single for their 1995-96 retrospective project called the Beatles Anthology. So what happened was the quality of the record that was recorded by Lennon at home was so bad that even though they did some overdubs from Paul McCartney and Ringo Starr and guitar tracks by George Harrison, they basically had to abandon it because the quality was really, really bad.
Okay.
Okay. So then George Harrison died in 2001. So this session, so we only had the overdub recordings and the guitar tracks by them. Now what has
Hmm.
happened is 54 years, no, so many years later, they used a machine learning assisted audio restoration technology, which was commissioned by Peter Jackson for his 2021 documentary, The Beatles Get Back. And
Okay.
McCartney wrote some additional lyrics, few additional lyrics. They used some of the recordings they had done in 1995, the overdubs and everything, and they put everything together to make the song.
Interesting.
Peter
Okay.
Jackson also recorded the music, directed the music video for Now and Then. The song received universal acclaim from critics who felt it was a worthy finale for the Beatles. It topped the charts in the UK, Germany, and Austria, and reached the top 10 in Australia, Belgium, Canada, Ireland, the Netherlands, Sweden, Switzerland, and the US. It is the only Beatles UK number one single that is not attributed to the Lennon McCartney songwriting partnership.
Very cool.
Do you find it interesting that despite this being the year of AI and the year of climate change, neither of us chose a question from AI and climate change?
I swear. Okay, so I found this lovely website which had a bunch of events from every single month, and I was just going through that trying to find relevant trivia.
Uh.
And I was bombarded, firstly, by the number of Trump legal issues. And then, of course, the very depressing Russia-Ukraine war updates and the very depressing Israel-Gaza situation that was all over the news. And then climate change. Oh my God, the number of record-breaking things that happened
Seriously.
regarding climate change this year. It, I don't know how to not be a doomsayer and completely lose your shit when you
No,
see
seriously.
what is happening.
When same thing. When I went back and I was going through, Wikipedia and all the dates and months and all those things, the number of climate change events, the hottest temperatures recorded and all, 56
Hmm.
degrees in Iran,
Hmm.
which is beyond what humans can tolerate.
Cyclones landing where they've never landed before.
Exactly. Yeah.
Hottest ever week or month recorded in 100 200 years. It's just, and it seems to be just a yearly thing now. Every year is throwing up new
The
such
question is,
awful and
will we reach a tipping point or will we just adapt?
I don't know if I want to find out. No, I do. I'm a very optimistic person at heart, so I believe in humanity. Okay, let's end on a happy note. Let's end on a happy note for December.
Okay.
December isn't over yet, but something lovely happened earlier this month. And again, this is a news which involves two people. So I'm going to
Okay.
tell you what these two individuals are famous for in chronological order. And I will stop short of the last one in the list. There are 5 items on the list, and I will tell you the first four. Uh,
Okay.
if you can't figure it out, I'll give you the fifth one. Tell me what happened earlier this month. Okay. So the
Okay.
first on the list is Greenberg in 2010.
Okay.
The next is Frances Ha, 2012. Then we have Mistress America, 2015. Before I reveal number four, do you want to take a guess?
Oh no, I'm blanking right now.
Okay, all right, then let me give you number four, which might be a good clue. White Noise, 2022.
White Noise 2022. Okay.
And I haven't told you what number one is.
No, you haven't. I am clueless right now. You will have to, like, White Noise. These aren't bands, right? Greenberg.
Oh, okay. All right, so let me just guide you further along. These are movies.
These are movies. No.
Okay, so let me give you a further clue. I said it's news involving two people. These are two people who have collaborated on all of these movies. Let's call them X and Y, and let's give you a very quick rundown. Greenberg, which was released in 2010, the director was X, the writer was also X. It starred Y. Francis Ha, which came out in 2012, director X, writer X and Y, starring Y. Mistress America 2015, director X, writer X and Y, starring Y. One more time. White Noise in 2022, director was X, writer was also X, starring Y. So none of these have been directed by Y. A lot of them have X as the director and
Director,
the
yeah.
writer. Y has some writing credits and a
Some
lot of
acting
acting
credits,
credits.
yeah. And you want me to guess what is the one in December 2023?
No, something happened between these two people in December 2023,
Oh, okay.
but I haven't given you number five, the fifth the fifth movie, which was their collaboration.
Guessing these are art house movies and not like mainstream, airport time killers, the usual kind of thing I watch.
You would be surprised because number five, no, the rest of them are indie darlings, but
Okay.
number five was the first time in this list, not the
Okay.
first time ever, but the first time in this particular list or in their collaborations that Y directed, and the writers were again X and Y, and Y did not have an acting credit in this.
Actor directed a movie released in 2023 December.
Okay, sorry. Let me also clarify. I did not say the movie released in December 2023. Movie
Oh,
was
okay.
released in 2023.
Oh, okay.
Something happened between the two of them. All right. You know what? Let me tell you
Wait.
what happened
This
between the two
isn't
of them.
Key and Peele, right? Key and Peele. No, this is not Key and Peele. No,
No.
no.
Here's where it helps to know what happened between the two of them. The two of them got married in December.
uh, and you see that kind of collaboration, something that goes back that far. Directors married to actors. There's Aaron Taylor Johnson, but he's already been married for a long time. There's Emily Blunt and John Krasinski, but again, they've only done those kind of major things. Spielberg was famously married to an actress, but no, I no no. You'll have to. This is going to be
Okay.
something
Well,
simple.
you have definitely heard of it.
Okay,
The biggest movie of 2023.
the biggest movie of 2023. Oppenheimer.
Yeah, yeah,
Wait, Barbie. Greta Gerwig.
yeah. Do you know who she's married to?
No, I don't. Wait. Greta Gerwig's married to some actor.
Okay.
No, wait. She acted.
No, a director. I never said that X ever acted.
Okay, yeah. Okay,
Greta
yeah.
Gerwig
So
was an actor.
okay, who's she
All
married
right,
to?
so let me just tell you on December 20th of 2023,
Huh?
Greta Gerwig and Noah Baumbach announced that they're married after 12 years of dating. Do
Noah?
you know of this individual?
No, I don't. I'm maybe one of those people I know by sight, but Noah Bomba?
Have you watched a Marriage Story?
No, I have not. I
Okay.
was going. I remember I was
Uh,
going to watch it, and a friend told me it is extremely depressing. Don't watch it. Then I was like, okay, I
it
was
is
not in
it
the
is
mood
it
for.
is not an easy watch, but it is a lovely movie. And of course, he has to his credit a bunch of films. He has been active for a very long time.
Okay.
Uh, Marriage Story, Francis Ha, I already mentioned, White Noise, The Squid and the Whale, Greenberg, a bunch of very famous movies, Mistress America. All of these are Noah Baumbach films. Noah Baumbach and Greta Gerwig have been collaborating for a very long time since they first met.
Oh,
And obviously, Greta Gerwig has directed movies before this, but Barbie is her biggest film. And this time around, when they collaborated, she was one directing it, and Noah was just writing the film. Turned out to be the biggest success of their collaborative efforts. Maybe this is something more
yeah.
commonly known
And
to
if you had,
big cinephiles, which you probably are as well. But
yeah,
yeah,
no,
maybe
no,
you
no, it's
missed this.
still a great fact. Great fact. Uh, if you had told me last year that a movie based on Barbie would be the biggest movie of the year, I would have laughed in your face.
You know what is freaking me out is that they have greenlit a bunch of films based off of just random toy product lines. Like I think there is a Monopoly
Ah, I heard
film
of
that has
that.
been
Yeah.
greenlit. Yeah, and Monopoly still sounds like there is some character in it. I remember there were some other ridiculous ones which were greenlit, and I was like, "How are you going to make a movie out of this?" And yeah, I'm not very
No,
optimistic
I see.
because
But the gold standard for making a movie out of a game or this kind of property is still Clue.
oh, what a great film! What a great
That
film!
was just
Yeah.
a fantastic film. And
Mm.
the blueprint of what not to do would be the G.I. Joe films.
You know what? I'll tell you, it was a guilty pleasure of mine for a while. I used to actually enjoy those films, and then I think I grew out of them. But
Yeah.
yeah, Barbie, I think, did a fairly good job in working a great story, a fun little script, and great acting performances into a promotion material for what is basically a 2 hour long ad for a toy.
And wow, that brings us to the end of 2023, both literally and figuratively.
And this has been a long episode, so it's a bumper
I think it's
episode.
fair. I think it's fair. 50th
Hmm.
episode, we have to do something special. But wow, 50 episodes and the end of
Indeed.
2023.
Did you expect us to reach this point, Vineet?
To be honest, I was hopeful, but I always expected at some point because both of our lives are so busy that it's very difficult to get both of us synced up, as you know.
That is true. That is true.
If we try to sync up 12 times, we might sync up maybe twice out of 2 out of 12. I think would be
Hmm.
a generous estimation of how often we are able to find free spots. But yeah, so I always
And yet,
expected that
yet
might
we
happen.
are here. We are here. We are.
Not very regular, but yes, we are here.
You know what? Out of the 52 weeks, we only missed it twice. So
Yeah,
I'll give ourselves a pat on the back. Yeah,
yeah,
not too bad. Not too bad.
yeah. So yeah, so that's the end of this year. Uh, Before we end the episode, there are a few things that we do at the end of every episode. First things first is Aditya. What is going to be your question for the new year? So remember that this will be the next question or the first question of the next year. So it has to be
Is it?
decent.
I I think I already know what your answer will be. But is there any way that we can leave this trend behind in 2023? Not
Absolutely
carry
not.
it
Too many
further.
people enjoy this.
Oh boy.
Like this is the one
Okay.
thing that everybody says they like, so then I'm not getting rid of it.
Oh, I really question our audience now. No, no, no. I'm kidding. Please keep listening to our podcast. Okay. So the question will obviously be uh, Elon Musk, man, continues to dominate the news and the whole 420 thing that he did. What else has Elon Musk done in his juvenile attempt at humor in his business career? You know what? I don't even think I'll have to make up an answer for this. I think I'm just going to find an actual
You just
fact
have to
for
wait a week.
once.
You just have to wait a week. He'll find
He
something
will
to do.
do something.
He will
Yeah.
do something. That's
Okay.
great. So that's the question for next week. And now let's move to the audience question. In March of 2023, this company X posted earnings of $161 billion for 2022, making it the highest ever recorded annual profit by a publicly listed company. Before I reveal the answer, Aditya, do you know which this is?
161 billion.
Yeah, that's the profit. We're not even talking about anything else. It's a profit.
Oh boy. No, I have no clue whatever whatsoever this could be.
This is Aramco. Have you heard of Aramco?
Isn't it the oil and gas company?
Yes, it is the Saudi Arabian oil and gas company, which was
No, they're
originally founded as a collaboration between America and Saudi Arabia, the Arab American Oil Corporation. So that eventually became
oh,
Audi Aramco, now known as Saudi Aramco. It is the company which listed the highest ever recorded annual profit. Yeah.
that is insane.
Aditya, what is your pop culture recommendation for this week?
Pop culture recommendation. I'm going to keep it very short and sweet. It's the end of the year. It is something that I look forward to every single year, as much as people do a Spotify Wrapped and whatnot. I look forward to the Vox Rewind or Vox Review of the year. It is usually a decent compilation of, well, mostly American centric news, but world news as well, and quick snippets of news. And I remember every year that I've watched it, I have teared up because it just is such an overwhelming experience to be exposed to all of these things that happened over the entire year. So, Vox Rewind for 2023 is a fun watch. I just watched it earlier today, and I encourage viewers to go check it out, or listeners to go check it out.
Great. For me, the end of this year and the beginning of another takes me back to the fact that I am growing older every year, more gray than black in the hair and beard going forward. So it just makes me a little more nostalgic for, better times or whatever. So the show that I'm going to recommend is a show called Psych. I don't know how many of you have actually heard of it, but it's this amazing show which I still believe was ripped off by The Mentalist, because the basic concept is the same. Slightly different though. In Psych, there is a hyper observant character who's been trained from childhood to observe everything like Sherlock Holmes, but big, but because his skill is so great that people don't believe him, he pretends to be a psychic and works for the police. It is a buddy comedy with James Roday in the lead. Fantastic comedy, especially if you are somebody who grew up in the 80s and 90s. 90% of what comes out of James Roday's mouth are references from the 80s and the 90s. So it's nostalgia built on nostalgia. It's a fantastic show. The show has a very big cult following, and following that, they have 3 follow-up movies. So please try and catch Psych. It's just an amazing show. It will feed your nostalgia train, even if you're from the 2000s or if you're from the 80s and the 90s. It will definitely feed your nostalgia train, and it's pretty damn funny. Pretty damn funny. Mysteries combined with comedy, you can't just beat that.
Fun.
So that is the end of today's episode, the last episode for 2023. Thank you for listening in. We hope you enjoyed the show and learned something new. A lot of people listen to our show, but very few people are actually subscribing compared to the number of people who listen. So please take a few seconds to subscribe to our podcast and leave us a review on the podcast platform you're listening to us right now. It helps us reach a wider audience and allows more people to discover and enjoy the show. We'd also love to hear from you. Feedback, suggestions, trivia. If you're listening on Spotify, there's a question underneath in the show notes asking you what you thought of the episode. Please feel free to answer that there. If there are questions you want asked on the show, you can send us an email at areyouquizzingme@gmail.com with the name of the quizmaster who you want to ask the question in the title, in the subject. You can also reach us on Instagram at areyouquizzingme. We appreciate your support and look forward to sharing more episodes with you in the future. Thank you for tuning in, and have a great day and a happy new year.
See you guys next year.